Well, hello everyone. I'm Anita Toth, all the way from just outside Toronto, Canada. I'm looking forward to speaking to you about customer retention. I understand some of you might be wondering, what does customer retention have to do with you? So that's what I'm going to focus on today. I love answering questions, so I hope you have plenty of them for me at the end of the talk. But I'm going to start this talk with a question for you. And the question is, have you ever experienced something like this, where your reality and your expectations don't match? Okay, I'm sure all of us have at some point. And it's not only disappointing and frustrating, but it also leaves you with a firm decision. And that decision is you never buy from that company again. For those of you who are in sales or marketing, or if you're a founder or CEO of a startup, you are looking to get customers. And sometimes those customers stay and sometimes those customers leave. You don't really have any control over that, right? Or do you? And I'm going to give you a little hint. Actually, marketing and sales play a big part in whether a customer chooses to stay or leave. But I will come back to that in a little bit. What I'm going to talk about now is why we buy stuff. And all humans buy products or services based on one thing, and that is emotions. Sorry, struggling a little with my setup here. So we justify our decision to buy with things like facts and figures, testimonials, reviews, charts and graphs, and other people's opinions. But underneath all of that are emotions. And maybe we're looking for relief from a challenge or a problem in our life. Or maybe we're looking to make things easier for ourselves. Maybe we're just looking to increase our status in the world. Or maybe we want to feel better or sound better or even look better. The point is, underneath every decision we make to buy a product or services, there are emotions. And just like in a romantic relationship where you have feelings that range from excitement to disappointment, maybe some anger, the customer's journey is no different. Because just like when a romantic relationship ends, it's never just one thing that causes the relationship to end. It's accumulation of many things, often with that one thing in particular that tips the person over the edge, and they decide that leaving is better than staying. So it's the same journey with customers, whether it's not ever just one reason why they leave. And in a bit, I'm going to show you how you can benefit from that in your job. Okay, this is the customer journey relationship. I'm going to take you through each of these stages. So lead generation, dating, let's admit it, lead generation and sales can be crazy fun. You're putting a lot of lines out in the water to see which ones will get potential customers to bite. And eventually you'll hit on a few things that work to get customers interested in your product or service. So like dating, lead generation is very tactical. It's a lot of trying different things to see what gets a response and what doesn't. And then it's a thrill to discover how well those tactics work to get someone to sign up or to take a demo or a free trial or a sales call or a meeting. And it doesn't seem obvious, but it's in this lead generation stage which includes marketing and sales. In there lies the seed of what can quickly turn a happy customer into an unhappy one. I've had it happen to me. I bet you've had it happen to you too. So it's when marketing and sales create such big expectations, and it might be promises of solving your issue quickly. Maybe it's the expectation of a great customer experience. It might be excitement at features that you've wanted for a long time, and suddenly they're available on a sales call. Those promises, expectations, and excitement all create a feeling, hope. So hope that this product or service is going to help you. And just like in dating, when you think you found the one, your emotions are high. You feel hope and you feel happy and you're looking forward to what's coming next. So the next stage is the conversion, the wedding. You're ready to take the plunge. And based on everything you've been told or read or watched or listened to, or maybe even tried in a free trial, this company is right for you. They can help you achieve what it is you're looking to achieve. So you take the big step of becoming a paying customer. You take a leap of faith. You hope that everything you decide to become a customer is actually true. You've committed to the relationship by paying, and in a romantic relationship, this means you've just gotten married. The onboarding honeymoon phase, just like a honeymoon in a romantic relationship, the onboarding stage can either be very long or exceptionally short. So if you've just paid a few dollars for an app, the onboarding period might last just a few minutes. But if you're implementing enterprise software that takes months to onboard, the onboarding process could last anywhere from 3 to 6 months. The critical thing about the onboarding period is this is where those promises and expectations and earlier excitement start to meet with reality. And here's what I mean. Perhaps you're asking, are those features that your sales rep told you about really available? Are they available now? You have an issue and you reach out to support, and it takes them 4 days to get back to you. You start wondering if your decision to become a customer was a good one. So you start the onboarding process and you realize it will take a lot longer to get to your first big win. The marketing you had encountered made it look like you would get to that first win very quickly. Now you're a customer and you see it's not as quick as you hoped it would be. Or maybe your experience is the opposite. Those features your sales rep promised are available, and they're available right now. You have an issue and you reach out to support and they get back to you in 30 minutes. And the onboarding is super fast and easy. Your time to that big win is super short and it feels amazing. The onboarding stage is where customers will start to experience one of two things. The first is confirmation they made the wrong decision in purchasing, or the confirmation that they made the right decision in purchasing. Okay, we're now coming to the biggest part of the customer journey, and that is the retention marriage stage. And whether it's a romantic relationship or a customer relationship, the retention or marriage stage, this is where the real work begins. So unlike the fun, tactical, ever-moving targets in the lead generation or dating stage, the retention marriage stage is the exact opposite. So tactics don't work well in this stage. And it takes time and effort and listening and hard work to keep the relationship healthy and thriving. For many companies, this is exactly where they drop the ball. So they assume the hard work was done in the lead generation stage. And what they do is they just let the customer relationship suffer. They stop putting in effort. They stop paying attention, even though their churn rates might be high. And for those of you who don't know what a churn rate is when a customer leaves. These companies focus on generating more leads as a way to compensate for the revenue they're losing. Just think to, a marriage where, people don't put in any effort anymore. Very similar with the customer relationship journey. But there are some companies that put a lot of effort into retaining their customers and growing the relationship. And while it's hard work, these companies see the value of having happy customers, and they're committed to taking the necessary steps to make it happen. They love keeping their customers, and their customers are not only happy to stay, but they're also happy to buy more. Now, for companies that are heavily invested in retention and growing their customer relationship, these next two stages I'm going to talk about, they rarely happen. And the first is the wandering eye stage. As you know, when humans aren't happy, we tend to start looking around at things we think might bring back the happiness. So for customers, the wandering eye stage might mean noticing your competition's ads and clicking on them. Maybe your customers start asking colleagues and friends about their thoughts on your competition. Perhaps they're visiting a review site like G2 to see how your company stacks up to the competition. When customers are engaging in behaviors like this, they are at a very high risk of leaving. And then there's the test drive stage. So not every customer who is at high risk of leaving will enter this stage. Some will jump right from wandering eye to the very last stage that I'll show you in a second. but some of your customers will want to test drive your competition. And this means they're taking demos, maybe they're even signing up for a free trial, or maybe they're taking sales calls and have initiated the sales process. And when a customer hits this stage, it is code red. Like the relationship is on life support. And the chance of losing this customer is nearly 100% unless there is some radical intervention on your part. And of course, I think you've figured out the last stage is churn. So that's when a customer leaves, it's over, the relationship is done. And unfortunately, once customers leave, they rarely come back. They are gone. Now, if you're in marketing or sales or you're a founder or a CEO, you might want to listen to this next part I'm going to talk about. Remember this guy right here? Okay, so his experience in buying a carpet for his bedroom, and it turned out that the carpet was for a little tiny dollhouse. I want you to look at the expression on his face. And what do you see there? To me, he doesn't look very happy at all. And that's because his expectations of a room-sized rug and the reality of his little tiny rug were vastly different. So for those of you who like visual representations of what I'm trying to say here, let's look at it a different way. You can see his expectation was huge. The reality is really small, which led to an unhappy customer. And it's right here where marketing and sales play a big part in whether customers choose to stay or leave. And I told you I would come back to this. So marketing and sales set the customer's expectations. And these might be expectations on how fast a product solves a problem or how easy the product is to implement. If the customer's reality meets the expectations set by marketing and sales, the customer is happy. And if they're happy, they will likely stay as a customer. And the longer they stay, the more you can sell to them. So maybe you can upsell them into a higher price plan or cross-sell them into a new product line. They renew their contracts and they will refer others to your product. And the positive word of mouth marketing is a powerful and free way to acquire new customers. Now, of course, on the other hand, if marketing and sales set the expectation and the customer's experience doesn't meet those expectations, they become like the guy with the tiny little rug. They become unhappy. And unhappy customers tend to leave quite quickly. And when they leave, they take all those future revenue opportunities too. They don't buy more. They don't refer people. And the negative word of mouth marketing they do can lose you customers even before they become a customer. You and I have all read bad reviews or heard bad things about products from our trusted colleagues and friends. And I don't know about you, but I've chosen to not even try a product based solely on what others have told me about their bad experience. So, how do upset customers help you? And why should you care if a customer stays longer? Well, because those customers are going to give you something you don't have, and that is insight from their perspective. In the words of Bill Gates, he's the founder of Microsoft, unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. So unhappy customers will tell you the reasons why they're unhappy. They will tell you when they moved from being happy to being unhappy. And that is where your gold lies. My clients hire me to help me undertake customer insight interviews. And these interviews with their unhappy customers shows them exactly where they're dropping the ball. These interviews highlight the specific areas or activities or processes that are causing their once happy customers to become unhappy. And then they take that information and they make changes. For marketers, they change their campaigns to speak more to their ideal happy customers than the unhappy ones. The result is often lower cost per acquisition. For sales, they can better understand how to approach a sale or identify a poor fit prospect much earlier in the sales process So it frees up their time to focus on potential higher converting prospects. For founders and CEOs, knowing what makes their customers unhappy can help them make better strategic decisions that support the development of more happy customers, which means higher lifetime customer value and bigger profits. If Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, found huge value in speaking to unhappy customers, maybe you should think about it too. And there's two ways that you can learn directly from unhappy customers. The first is by talking to your colleagues in customer support, or even better, some of you maybe have a customer success department. If you do, you want to speak to your colleagues there. Customer support and customer success are the teams that are talking to customers every single day, and they can tell you specifically why customers are unhappy. Now, maybe some of you are feeling particularly brave and you want to ask if you can shadow those people in customer support and customer success and listen in on a few of their calls, or even take a few calls yourself. So I've heard of several companies where everybody, like from marketing, product, sales, and the executive team, including founders and the CEO, have to take a shift on the customer support line for a few hours a month. And every single employee who does these support calls learns an incredible amount of insight into how their jobs affect customers. Now, the second way you can learn directly from unhappy customers, probably figured this out, is to speak to them directly yourself. And yes, that means reaching out and asking customers why they're unhappy. So you might be thinking, Anita, I'm in sales. I talk to customers all day long. Why would I want to talk to unhappy customers? And my answer to you is because they will help you become a better salesperson. You'll convert more high-value customers and add more revenues to the company's bottom line than you do right now. And if the company is making more money, you will too. Okay, so how do you talk to unhappy customers? By reaching out and asking them for 15 minutes of their time. If you're in marketing or sales or the executive suite of your company, you need to talk to your unhappy customers and find out why they're unhappy. And in these conversations, you'll need to listen a lot. So what you're going to do is ask them questions about their experience. If you're in sales, you'll have to really resist this urge to try to sell them. Really what you want to do is see things from their point of view. And then make some notes about what you heard. And then ask yourself some questions about what you learned. For example, what can you change in your job to prevent other customers from becoming unhappy? What can you change right now? And what can be changed later? And then make a commitment to make those changes. But if you really want to take this to the next level and make your job super easy, also speak to some of your happiest customers. Ask them why they're so happy. Ask them why they stay as a customer. And then compare your answers to your unhappy customers. This is the part that blows my clients' minds when I'm reporting the results of our interviews on their customers. They start seeing the obvious differences between the two groups, and frankly, sometimes it is shocking. And it's those differences that will help you see what you can do to attract and sell more to your ideal customers. It is those differences that are going to help you find the areas that you can improve. But you can only find your insights and your gold by doing this comparison between your happy and unhappy customers, if you have retained a big enough pool of customers to talk to. So here is why retaining more customers is so important to this process. And that's because not every customer is going to want to speak to you. And the more happy customers you have, the more nuanced you can get with this interview process. So down the line, you can interview both happy and unhappy customers, maybe that have bought a certain product, or customers of a certain account size, or customers that spend a certain amount of money, or customers with a certain job title. And really the list goes on. And Interviewing customers should really be a part of your monthly activities. And that's because customers are always changing what they want, need, and desire. Interviewing customers on a regular cadence means you'll be able to identify the earliest changes in your customers' wants, needs, and desires. You'll be on the front end of the curve, not at the back of it. And this means a great advantage over your competition. So I'm going to challenge you now. Are you ready? I am challenging you to get to know your customers better yourself. This means you'll be speaking directly to them. This means you will have to take time in your day to prioritize this. This means potentially learning some valuable information that you never knew about your customers. And this challenge could literally change your business. Are you ready? Okay, here's the challenge. Speak to one customer every day for the next 7 days. Of course, the best place to start is speaking with your unhappy customers. So you could pick an open support ticket or pick a closed one, call a customer and ask if you could speak to them for 15 minutes. What you're going to do is focus on them, not solutions. You're going to ask about their experience. You are going to record the call and you're going to take some notes. That's it. Speak to one customer for 15 minutes for the next 7 days, and you might just be surprised by what you discover. Oh, and before I finish, I want to say I do have 2 resources for you that I believe you'll have a link to them, but I just want to show you now. One is called Customer Retention Tips. For every part of that journey, remember at the beginning, I went through that customer relationship journey. So this is more for marketers or people in customer success. And the second is for sales on getting more sales and renewals. So the first one, there's a bunch of companies there: Amazon, Slack, Starbucks, Hugo, Calendly, Simply, Teespring, and Apple. So I've taken examples from all of these companies that you can just sort of cut and paste and use them as examples to retain your customers if you're a marketer. And for sales, I have this particular resource that is both for sales leaders and for sales reps. And all I have to say now is thank you. Thank you very much for sticking with me. And I look forward to answering your questions. I really hope you have some. Thanks very much.